Apple leading the charge as hundreds of companies worldwide are considering a China exit, shifting away from business with Beijing amid its handling of this pandemic. Apple looking to India now to manufacture $40 billion worth of iPhones in the next 5 years. But is this too little too late? What kind of progress is this? Joining us with why the world should have depended less on China in the first place, the Heritage Foundation's Dean Cheng. So thanks for coming on today. We appreciate it. What do you think of this move by Apple?
Well, I think certainly Apple is going to be looking at how much it depends on China for its current supply chain. And between the trade war, Chinese behavior during coronavirus, and also their own executives. How would you like to be a executive told you're going to be among the first people to move back to China to reopen plants?
Yeah, do you expect, I would expect there to be some kind of backlash to companies. I'm just waiting to see the hashtag ban made in China or something like that, where people are saying, if you're doing business with China, we don't want your products anymore. Do you expect to see something like that?
Well, I think you're always going to have some grandstanding like that. But the reality is that our economies are too intertwined to really do a hard decoupling, meaning that all American companies or many American companies will simply up and leave. Keep in mind that even Apple, if it goes through with a full $40 billion redirection, is still going to have over $150 billion worth of business in China.
No, you're exactly right. And we can take up those numbers right now. We can pull them up. Apple's a big player in China. $220 billion in merchandise produced in that country, $185 billion exported, 4.8 million Chinese people employed by Apple. And then let's go on to one more here. This is the Indian government that's going to get a nice chunk of this, maybe a quarter or a fifth of the pie. Apple is actually looking at India as a base to manufacture and export, essentially diversifying its production out of China. We expect mobile phone exports out of India to cross 100 billion by 2025 or earlier. So India planning to take about half the business away from China. My question to you is, how will China retaliate for this? Because they're going to think of a way to get even.
Well, I think we've already seen the Chinese ramp up their pressure in Southeast Asia. Beginning last year, Apple was already moving AirPod production to Vietnam. I think recently there's been some fistfights, literally, along the Sino-Indian border between border guards. I think these are all aspects of China trying to turn up the pressure on India to sort of say, hey, understand, we're still bigger than you. We're more powerful than you. Don't tick us off.
There's 31 countries that are looking to shift their business out of China. This is really doing a lot of damage to the Chinese economy and will continue to do so. Here, this is from Indiana Senator Mike Braun on Tuesday. China doesn't play fair. The failure to operate on the level regarding COVID-19 has caused untold global devastation. China must be held accountable, and if they do not cooperate, they should face the serious consequences. Could China do something to Apple like box them out of their market? Could they say, okay, you want to play this way? We're not going to let you sell iPhones in China. That would be devastating for Apple.
Well, absolutely. And we've already seen the Chinese put similar pressure on other corporations, other companies. The Chinese have been pretty clear in the past that there are limits on their foreign market share, foreign access, and of course the intellectual property theft and diversion. So if Apple thinks it will just be able to coast along, because the Chinese are going to develop competition also for iPhones through state champions.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we wish Apple was moving things back to the United States, but I guess India is a start. Dean, thank you so much for your time. We do appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right.